Hello everyone, I am Tacit, and today I'm going to be going over the Gems of War event objectives for the not-so-jolly Green Giant, in which the Emerald Giant is added to the game. Video coming out a little bit later than normal, but there's still a lot of good things going on this week, so plenty of things to still go over. Anyways, let's start from the top. So let's go over the troop. Pretty decent troop. Comes in a bunch of green-yellow if you want to go stock up on it. As far as the troop itself, it is decent, but probably will not be used that often. It deals a bunch of damage to an enemy and it converts 5 brown gems to green giant gems. Those green giant gems will be giving a lot of mana accumulation. There's +5 plus those explosions, so compared to how much mana accumulation he could get relative to his actual mana cost, it's not too bad. You can end up getting alignment if there's a small amount of brown on the board, and overall has some usability. Biggest issue with it is there are better mana accumulators out there. It also does require that alignment, and compared to like an Empower Converter, it's probably not going to be used that much. It also has a bit of a final trait that can be good, but can also backfire. A lot of these giants are going to be getting this perk, and they are very hit or miss on if they can actually be good or not. Particularly that one that ends up creating skulls that we get at the end of the season, because it'll end up being an absolute powerhouse for its ability, but then have a final trait that could very much backfire. And if it does, then that'd be problematic, but if it doesn't, it helps you out a lot. It reminds me a little bit of Wish Gems, how these giants are going to be working. They are elemental giants, so they do have a bit of coverage as far as very useful teams that they can 50% mana start on. But yeah, he's going to be okay. He has some score reduction. Very situational, something you might plop into an elemental giant kind of team, or, you know, an elemental team more so probably. But it is viable, but is a high risk, high reward kind of trade-off. And more often than not, you're probably better off with a lower risk, more consistent mana accumulator, is basically the bottom line that it comes down to when utilizing that troop. As far as the event key drop table this week, it is okay. As far as Forest of Thorns is concerned, we have the following options. If we go over to the Kingdom and click over to Forest of Thorns and then show all, we can end up seeing, actually I want to do it by base rarity as well. We can end up seeing every single thing that resides here. Yasmin's Chosen, while not that good of a troop, one thing to mention about this is I believe they added the pet available this week. So it was originally money locked, and we also had the gem lock one. The gem lock one seems like it was already out. I'm not sure if they both were, but I've heard a lot of reports this week that people were starting to get the money locked one. So I'm not sure if it actually was available prior to now, or if this event week actually caused it to occur. But yeah, both the money locked pet that was from the Legends Reborn event, as well as the gem lock one that we just had an event for, are indeed in the normal drop table. So whenever you find pet gnomes, you will indeed find them. I found a gem one prior, though I never did see the money one until this week. But as far as things that you want to be going for, definitely King Avalon is, you probably want to get it before the end of this week. Not only did we get the pet yesterday to buff him up, and he's been in drop table for a while, the pet to end up doing so, but he has the 50% mana start to all elves. This is really good for Arachne Weaver, Orb Weaver, and a few other really key elves within the game, and pretty much you can't go wrong with almost any 50% mana starter troop. Every single thing that you see here is indeed in the drop table, with the main exceptions of the 4 faction troops, of course, from the Primal Rift, and I believe those are the only exceptions. But yeah, quite a few good things here. You can get Rowan maxed if you don't already have it, an absolutely insane damage source. You have Forest Troll for doubling green, really useful in some teams depending on what the composition is. While very rarely used in the current state of the game, you have Entangle and Extra Turn from Sylvani Mora, which is the only mechanic that kind of has it like that, and can be situationally good with a Skull Spam team. And overall, unfortunately, the Mythics are kind of useless from this location. But you're mostly looking for King Avalon if you're looking for anything, that is for sure. There's also a few situations where Lady Arnerial is used. It's very similar to Vinoxia and is sometimes used with Vinoxia for some synergy there. Oh wait, also sorry, there is one other troop not in drop table, and it is Array. I didn't see that little Guild War troop there. But yeah, Array and the 4 faction troops are the ones not available then, because this one's only available through the Guild War system thing. Anyways, let's go now onto the events. So, of course, we have Guild Wars right now. Guild Wars been going on, same standard thing as always. Make sure to use Pure Color Team. Make sure your defends are set. You can get up to 2,000 points per day by having completely unique things set, up to 12,000 across the entire week. Pretty standard Guild War. And luckily, the event also isn't that annoying. Basically, all you need to know is rarity order, and if you see Emerald Giant, always take Emerald Giant. It is a Generator War Master Green restriction, which gives you access to quite a few things. Basically, any AoE spam is going to be good. Box Striders are really low rarity, high mana accumulator. Leprechaun pretty similar. And quite a few decent damage sources while also having decent mana accumulators, as you would expect from the Generator category, where pretty much all generators reside, as the name would kind of imply. As far as other things that we still have going on this week, of course, right now, at this exact moment in time, we have ourselves the class trials going on. As far as this, it is restricted to Forest of Thorns Elf, yet another reason for the King Avalon. However, you can end up just spamming it with like a yellow weapon up front with a bunch of yellow links behind it, or do similar with a green weapon. Basically, just a bunch of mana links in order to end up killing everything out. Also, now might be a time to actually go into the teams. A little bit of a weirder order, but I actually do want to kind of go over some of the teams that are available this week. So, since we're just going over it, the World event, we just showed this, the Bogue Strider into Truffle. That's what we've been using. Could probably put like a brown weapon here. Oh, actually, you can't. Well, you can. You can put War and Peace. So you could put like a brown-green weapon there. You can't use like the pure brown weapons because you do still have to use green. Speaking of War and Peace, since it's a lot more accessible, we have this on the lower rarity team, as well as a Mirror Lift to pressure, a little bit of damage while also still doing mana accumulation off its ability. Something a little bit more accessible to early game, though you can still use Truffle, of course, which you can target out with shards on the Amethyrax faction. Here we have any yellow weapon into a bunch of links. You can also do it with green. As far as the kingdom is concerned, so you can end up doing that with the Archer class event. And lastly here, actually two lastlies, we have the Grosh-Nak Raids, where we can end up running basically Mang out the raid boss. You then kill it with the raid slayer, the boss slayer, and then you have double empower skulls. So that's pretty nice. You have some extra attack, yellow to skull, you then have green to skull while also having hunters marked. It should be a pretty easy raid event overall. That we're going to be having tomorrow for this weekend. So it should be pretty nice. A lot of really accessible high damage skull spam, which we'll be able to clear it quite quickly as far as getting that event done. And we also have an elemental bow team that we'll end up showing at the end here. Anyways, as far as other things, of course, we have a class event today. This Friday, as I just mentioned, we had the Grosh-Nak event, and that's pretty much everything we have rounding out the week. As far as the Soulforge is concerned, main thing you want to get, and the reason why I mentioned Elemental Bow, is we have Elemental Bow right here. If you're going to leave with Soulforge with anything this week, it is definitely pick up a Elemental Bow week. It gets hard countered by freeze, as many things do. However, it's really strong, as what you would expect. Elementals with the Elemental Hero class, strongest hero class in the game, has a lot of firepower. Ends up doing a lot of good manas, blue and green. A lot of elementals end up needing this. Mirage Queen in particular is an interesting situation for this because it needs blue to end up feeding its mana, while also still having the green Doomskull convert. So overall, really amazing weapon. Still situational when it's used, but very strong nonetheless. It also has Leaf Storm attached to it. It has Entangle to first enemy once you get it fully maxed and all that. So honestly, a pretty good weapon that very rarely gets used because how much freeze is around. But if you're ever up against a non-freeze team or something similar, it has a lot of potential with various elemental teams. If you're going to bother crafting any troops, I would say it's a pretty skippable week. However, if you're going to go for any, it's probably Uberstet. Uberstet got nerfed quite hard a while back, though still is pretty good. Ends up boosting its damage based on all ally and enemy attack. Basically, the main premise with this is get a double kill, then get a double kill. Probably the most common team is Rope Dart with Thrall or some other mana accumulator combined with Uberstet. And basically the whole premise is you throw down Rope Dart, you then mana accumulate, you throw down Rope Dart, you then throw down Uberstet, you then mana generate again, repeat the cycle, and then you double kill into a double kill. That's basically Uberstet's entire premise. If you can't double kill, he's not worth using. And even in those situations, there's normally things that can win quicker due to how much cycle you have to go through before you can actually get the double. It is situationally worthwhile. And if there was anything that you would get from a true perspective, it's probably Uberstet. Pretty skippable, though. There's already things that can do the double kill mechanic. There's already things that could 4x kill more efficiently in many situations. So overall, situational, but definitely something that is okay to have in an arsenal, depending on what a restriction might be for a given event and similar things to that. So an okay option, nonetheless. Also, today, we will be later tonight going over another Gem Dragon Egg. Hopefully it'll be a new one. Still, to this day, have not gotten a single... Hey, Tribute's ready. I still, to this day, have not gotten a single perfect dungeon run. We're still missing it. We will, at some point, end up getting it. Hopefully soon, TM. But we'll have to just wait and see. Yeah, we still have not been able to get lucky on that. Anyways, aside from that, I did say I wanted to go show the Elemental Bow team, so let's go show the Elemental Bow team. But no way am I using it in PvP, because I haven't even seen what's there. If I click, I am pretty sure it'll be a freeze team with like 10 freeze options. And by 10 freeze options, I mean literally just one Elementalist. Okay, so right off the bat, looks like we get Truffle, so we'll go get Truffle. That's a nice cascade right there, so we'll go for a little bit more mana here. Actually, I probably should cast a Mistralis first. A little bit of a weird order, but hopefully we'll get yellow alignment here. No! Oh, a little bit of bad order then. Alright, let me just take some yellow, get Elemental Bow going. And he does deny some of our color. That's a little unfortunate, as color we very vitally need to function here. Luckily, we do have the enchant from any of the extra turns that we end up getting, which gives us a lot of value across our entire team. And we just kind of keep spamming AoEs. Not the loopiest of loop teams out there. It's not really meant to be loop necessarily. It's more so just like a powerhouse kind of team where we get a bunch of damage down and has decent mana cycle. Not flawless mana cycle, but pretty good nonetheless. And yeah, you just keep spamming it out, keep doing truffle, keep shuffling up the board, throw some big skull damage. Has a little bit of everything. Has a way to bypass Submerge with Mistralis, has a skull spam directly, has truffle for just consistent chip damage. And yeah, there's many things you can kind of do with Elemental Bow depending on what you want to build. Mistralis is normally the thing that sucks up all the mana though, so you have an extra turn option that can. But yeah, Elemental Bow, Mistralis with like 2 other options tends to be the way to go. And that normally just tends to be Truffle and Mirage Queen, as almost every one of these teams tend to run Mirage Queen, and then that leaves one kind of flexible spot. But yeah, overall, it's a pretty solid weapon. Definitely worth messing around with if you never have. And if you're getting anything from Soulforge, or anything from the rest of this week, it is definitely Elemental Bow, as it's a great utility weapon just to kind of have laying around for utilization. Anyways, I believe that is everything that we still have going on this week. Hopefully next week we should be able to get the event video up quite a bit earlier, as kind of got caught up a little bit and then just kind of kept getting delayed and delayed and delayed. And here it is now. It happens some weeks, but we'll make sure next week is nice, and who knows, we'll get it like exactly 2 hours after reset. We'll see. But anyways, guys, I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your week. Stay safe out there. I'll catch you guys soon, and thank you so much for watching.